Well, would you call the largest margin of victory in franchise history a good night? Yeah, I that's what I would call it. Oh, and let me switch up my mic here. Probably sound like crap. Hopefully I sound better. No matter how I sound, it's not as good as the Golden State Warriors were tonight, at least in quarters 2 through 4. One down, 81 to go. Let's recap. Again, the most dominating victory in franchise history on opening night. Let's break down all the things that went right, few things that went wrong, very minor. Nothing to complain about. Let's get into it. So far, so good, Dub Nation. This is the Golden Days.
They always find something to nitpick, and that's because there's expectations for us to win. It was a pretty crazy night.
Woo! Let's go!
In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Come on and break me off. Cause I get what I want and I like what I see. If you got
Lindy Waters Welcome to the Golden Days. I am your host for the evening, Cyrus Saatsaz. You can follow me on Threads and Instagram at DogWild, over on Twitter. Yeah, I'm back there trying to be active as much as I can. You can follow me at Surf Journalist, and the program is on all social media platforms at Golden Days Pod. The Golden State Warriors 139-104 winners over the Portland Trailblazers, which and that the 35-point margin of victory, even more impressive when you consider the fact that this game was tied at 21 after the first quarter, meaning that the Golden State Warriors outscored Portland by 35 in quarters 2 through 4. Before we get into the nitty-gritty, before we get to the chat, before we break down a lot of fantastic achievements by the Warriors on opening night to go 1-0 on the season, got to give some love, of course, the official sponsor of Golden Days, and that is Bet Online. Basketball fans, it's that time of year again. The NBA is back from opening tip-off to buzzer beaters. Bet Online has you covered with the best odds, biggest promotions, and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. This season, every game matters, and Bet Online has every stat, matchup breakdown, and live odds to bet on during the game. And it's not just the NBA. Bet Online has odds on everything from football, the Major League Baseball playoffs, more specifically, the World Series between the Dodgers and the Yankees. NHL is also back. You can even bet on the election. We're almost there to decide who is the next leader of the free world. Head to the website today where you can make money on betting on things like that and get in on the action with America's most trusted site for online wagering. Bet Online. The game starts here. And again, 139-104, the final score. The Golden State Warriors 1-0 on the season. One new thing I'm going to be doing with every episode, that's a post-game show. At the end of the program, I'm going to read off the scores from the rest of the NBA. I'm going to also update the standings, although after one game, it's not going to be much there. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to do that at the end of every show. Now that I don't have a 30-minute timer restricting my content. And by the way, if you're wondering, hey, why is he starting his show like right on time now, where with the old network, we always have to wait like 30, 45 minutes? Yeah, that's because I had a co-host who was holding everything up. So from now on, we're starting right away, right when the game ends. And yeah, Matt Brotherton in the chat writes that Brandon Podziemski in this game, 0 points. I haven't even had a chance to really study these numbers yet. So Brandon Podziemski, yeah, you're correct. He had 0 points tonight. He did have 3 turnovers. He was called for 3 fouls. He did have 7 rebounds. He did have 4 assists, but he had 5 field goal attempts, 4 of them from deep, made none of them. He had no free throw attempts. A nothing burger scoring wise from Brandon Podziemski. But like Matt Brotherton said in the chat, a plus 34 in net rating, because that's the kind of impact that he does. That's the kind of impact that Brandon Podziemski brings to the table. And then, of course, you have folks like Mario who react this way, saying that it's time to move on from Kuminga. He's not getting the max after one game. He had a bad first quarter. And again, this is where social media just drives me insane. And folks like Mario, no offense, but it's ridiculous to sit here and criticize Kuminga because he did not have an outstanding game. He still had a good game. The first quarter, though, was bad for a lot of players, including Kuminga. Stephen Curry in that first quarter, for example, let me find these first quarter stats, was 0 of 4 from the field, 0 of 3 from beyond the arc. Andrew Wiggins was 0 of 2 from beyond the arc, was 1 of 5 from the field. Kuminga had 1 point on a free throw attempt that first quarter. He was 0 of 2 from the field, 0 of 1 from deep. But he was at least contributing in the sense that he was grabbing boards, he was playing defense, and then again he's a slow starter. This is nothing new with Kuminga, and this is part of the reason why I've been driven so mad with Steve Kerr's handling of his minutes. Is players sometimes, a lot of players, not just Kuminga, sometimes need a full body of work, meaning full-time minutes, 25, 30 plus minutes, where you can start seeing a complete picture of this individual. Judging a player from 5 first quarter minutes is asinine. And for the game tonight for Kuminga, which again, it's absurd to me that you have people already blasting him off one game where the Warriors won by 35 points, yet this is the world we live in. We have a lot of ignoramuses out there, and this is also largely because of Steve Kerr and the way he's managing them. You just have a lot of people that blindly follow whatever it is Steve Kerr says it does. Because if you actually judge Kuminga on statistics, the three-point shot's the only thing that is not delivered so far. And overall, it's not horrible. It was 34% last year, or maybe it was 32. He's right at the Mendoza line. His career numbers here, and I know I got to pull it up just to double up on that. And I hate that we're starting the discussion this early on Kuminga. He's a career. Last year, he shot 32.1%. He's a career 34.1% three-point shooter. That's not awful. That is the Mendoza line. You can happily live with that. That's not going to hurt your team. But nonetheless, despite the fact that the measurables don't show that he's a bad player, despite the fact that at least, I trust my eye test over anyone else, right? I'm watching the same thing you're watching. I don't see anything wrong with his game, but simply because Steve Kerr doesn't have complete faith in him, you have a lot of ignoramuses out there who just immediately want to pounce and be negative. Jonathan Kuminga is fine, okay? He did not have a great game tonight, mostly by his own standards. He only played 20 minutes in this game. He wasn't even in terms of net rating. So the team, it's not like the team was doing bad when he was out there. They just weren't winning. And mostly because he was part of that first quarter where a lot of players, Kuminga himself included, did not play well. To give you an idea, just to wrap up that part of the discussion real fast, in the first quarter, as I was reading off those numbers for all these players that were not doing well, Kuminga, Draymond Green, Trace Jackson Davis, Andrew Wiggins were all a -7 in that first quarter. They were outscored by that awful Portland team by 7 points in the opening quarter. It wasn't just Kuminga. It's absurd. The hatred towards Kuminga is outrageous. You would think on a night where the Warriors won by 35 points, we wouldn't have comments like that, both in social media and in the chat. But again, this is the world we live in. It's where we are. With that said, though, the player that should be getting exactly Julian Bashir, so Kuminga can't have a bad game. It's like it's asinine. But again, the player though that deserves accolades tonight, first and foremost, I think, is Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield, he came into this game and just immediately picked up where he left off in the preseason. He led all scorers tonight. Buddy Hield, again, just to give you an idea of just how well he played. If my stat sheet is correct, I'm going to hit the refresh button on this. Just I want to make sure I got it right here. I rely normally on the NBA's box score, but they Oh, no, the box score's here. I got it. All right. So Buddy Hield tonight. Yeah, this is correct. He only played 14 minutes, 44 seconds. Yet in those 14 minutes and 44 seconds, which most box scores will round up and say 15, he was 8 of 12 from the field. He was 5 of 7 from deep. Even had 1 free throw attempt on a +1. He even grabbed 5 rebounds in this game. He only had 1 turnover in this game, a +20 in net rating. He led all Warriors scorers tonight with 22 points. folks, you're not going to miss Klay Thompson from a performance perspective. Buddy Hield is more than fine as a replacement outside shooter, and tonight he proved that. What a brilliant pickup by the Warriors. So far, so damn good. Tip of the cap to Buddy Hield. Again, who was the player of the game. I mean, there was a few players that stood out, and we'll talk about them a lot. But Buddy Hield hit the Warriors' first two threes of the year. The Warriors missed their first 8 3-point attempts. I mean, again, the shot was not falling early on in this game, and then Buddy Hield shows up, drains a 3, drains another 3. And one trend that continued in this game from the preseason was the bench coming in to save the day. And what I mean by that is just listen to the net rating figures for the starters for the Warriors tonight. All right. And some of these are going to be great. Stephen Curry, even though he wasn't lighting it up shooting wise, had a slow start to the game, was finished 1 rebound shy of a triple-double. Stephen Curry was pulled out of this game with, I think, a minute or two remaining in the third quarter. When he left the game, the Warriors were on a 19-3 run. They were leading by 26 at that point. Steve Kerr pulls them for good reasons. I mean, look, I know for Steph to get his 11th triple-double of his career would have been an amazing thing, but even Steph knows that the individual accolades are second to team success. To the most important thing is how they look come postseason. And so Steph's not going to make a big deal out of it. I don't think anyone's going to make a big deal tonight, given they won by 35 points. But Steph, 17 points in this game, 10 assists in this game. And again, he finished with 9 rebounds, 1 shy of a triple-double in 25 minutes of play. He was 3 of 7 total from beyond the arc. But he was the exception to the starters. Again, following this trend from the preseason where the starters were hanging in there, not blowing the opposition out of the water. And then the bench, the deepest bench in the NBA. I firmly believe that. And tonight just confirmed that even more. Came in and just opened this thing wide open. Well, sorry to be redundant there. They just completely blew what was a narrow margin between these teams into a blowout game. The net rating for the starters, again, Kuminga had a 0. All right. So he wasn't hurting the team, and he obviously picked up the pace after that horrendous first quarter. But again, he finishes with an even 0 in net rating. It was an even score basically when he played between the Warriors and the Trailblazers. Draymond Green, who got not ejected, but he got a technical early in this game. I don't know if you folks saw that or not, but he did not like a foul call. And I don't blame him for being upset about that. That foul was BS. That was a dumb foul. Draymond, of course, upset over it. Steve Kerr had to call a timeout to calm Draymond down. And you could do a certain level of lip reading to understand the conversation between Steve Kerr and Draymond Green. And you could see Steve Kerr just nodding, going, I know. And then Draymond saying, but didn't you see it? Didn't you see it? And yeah, it was a bad foul, Draymond. We understand you're pissed off and it annoyed you, but you already have a technical foul 1 game into the season. With that said, I thought Draymond still had a fantastic game overall. He was a plus 12 in net rating, which normally is really good. But then when you hear the net rating statistics for the bench, you already heard Brandon Pajemski with a plus 34 on 0 points, which, as Matt Brotherton in the audience said, is insane. It is. It's a mind-boggling stat. So Draymond Green was plus 12. Trace Jackson Davis, who did not miss a shot tonight. Neither did Draymond Green, by the way. Draymond Green was a perfect 3 of 3 from the field, including, speaking of trends, from last year. Dude was dropping threes like they're going out of style. He hit just shy of 40% of his 3-point shots last year. And I do love the strategy. Draymond will put up the 3-point attempt early in the game. If it falls, he might do a second one. And if that second one doesn't fall, he pretty much cuts it out. That's the Draymond Green 3-point strategy that I don't know what was the catalyst for this revision in his shooting protocol, but that is what Draymond Green does now. He will hoist the 3-point shot early in the game. Tonight's season opener, it was not as early as it's normally been. I think that one 3-point attempt was in the second quarter, if I'm not mistaken. But it hit nothing but net. It went right through. And so Draymond, but besides the scoring, the perfect 3 of 3 shooting, just real fast to finish up his stat line, had 8 points in this game, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, did have 3 turnovers. And the Warriors did have quite a few of those. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But Draymond had a fantastic game, played 20 minutes, 26 seconds, and again, made all of his shots. But Trayce Jackson-Davis, though, was awesome. I mean, I don't know if DeAndre Ayton is the best representative, the best test to see just where Trayce Jackson-Davis's game is in year 2. DeAndre Ayton is a former starting center for a championship team, and he was pivotal on that team. It's kind of crazy where his career has gone because I don't think anyone wants that guy on their team now, but he's still a solid big. And Trayce Jackson-Davis held his own. Trayce Jackson-Davis also, again, did not miss a shot, the team's leader in field goal percentage last year. In tonight's game, he played 24 minutes, 37 seconds. The box score you read might say 25, a perfect 5 of 5 from the field. And it's not just that. He scored 14 points in this game, partly because he also had 5 free throw attempts. He had a +1, got to the line 2 other times, made 4 of his 5 free throws. That's 80%. You can easily live with that. He also grabbed 4 rebounds, had 2 assists, no block shots, but still finished the game with 14 points and 4 rebounds. Perfect shooting night, great defensive night. Bravo, Trayce Jackson-Davis. You are an established, well-deserved starting center in the NBA. Bravo. But with that said, his net rating was a 6. Andrew Wiggins, who had a poor first quarter and then tore it up the rest of the game. Steve Kerr said that he wants Wiggins to take 6 3-point attempts a night. He had 7 tonight. Andrew Wiggins went 4 of 7 from deep, was 8 of 15 from the field overall. That's better than 50%. Added 4 rebounds, dished out 2 assists, only had 1 turnover, and was second on the team in scoring tonight with 20 points. Bravo. Andrew Wiggins, it's one game, and I was a little perturbed early in the game when I saw Kuminga taken out before Wiggins, but we also saw the substitution pattern emerge a little later on when Kuminga came in the game before Wiggins. So Kerr has a pecking order, and the logic behind that, you'd have to ask him. But regardless, Kuminga and Wiggins as your starting 2 and 3, I love it. I've been saying for well over a year now that I want Wiggins as the 2. Thank you, Steve Kerr. I don't know what led to the decision. I don't know if Terry Stotts influenced that. I don't know if Jerry Stackhouse influenced that, but Wiggins is a 2. That's the position he played in Minnesota. And to see him playing his natural position for the Warriors tonight and delivering was awesome. It solves a massively huge question and an uncertainty for this team. And Wiggins delivered. So the Warriors for now have their shooting guard position set, and Andrew Wiggins absolutely delivered. But again, his net rating, a 9. So let me repeat that again for the 4 players I just mentioned. Jonathan Kuminga started, net rating 0. Draymond Green started, net rating 12. Trayce Jackson-Davis started, net rating 6. Andrew Wiggins started, net rating 9. Okay, that's cool. Now let's go to the bench. And again, Stephen Curry is his own beast because Stephen Curry was a +23. But look at the rest of the bench. Buddy Hield, +20. Gary Payton II, +26. Brandon Pajemski, +34. And then Kevon Looney, who had a good night. Offensively, not so well, but he had a good night overall, especially crashing the glass. He was a +13. Moses Moody, who I thought had a great game as well. He came off the bench as the 12th player. So even though Steve Kerr said he wants a 10-man rotation, we saw 12, and that's fine. We actually saw the whole team because it was a blowout. But in terms of the minutes that really count, Moses Moody did come in to start the second quarter. Again, the 12th man off the bench. He had 15 points, and he was a +10. The whole point of that rant is that the bench, the depth is killing it. They represent the difference between this Warriors team and a lot of other teams. Now, look, Portland Trailblazers are clearly not a real test. They are a lottery-bound team. They're already one game in, clearly playing capture the flag, and that's fine. But the Warriors, and when you're a team like the Warriors, you got to win these games. Okay. You don't have the luxury of taking nights off against bad teams like Portland. And the Warriors took 1 quarter off. No big deal. They made it up the next 3 quarters. This was a blowout win, 139-104. Let me see in the chat what's going on. Gamer F2P writing, Curry was playing good defense also. Agreed. He was playing fantastic defense and only coming 1 rebound shy of a triple-double. And again, you have people like Jeff's Cool who just from one game, and it was really just 1 quarter that he played bad. He played good. Like, here's Kuminga's. I haven't had a chance to see this yet. But Jonathan Kuminga, when he played in the 3rd quarter, his stat line in the 3rd, in 6 minutes of play, 2 of 3 from the field, had another trip to the free throw line. You're always going to get that with him. 5 points was a +5. Again, the stat sheet wasn't great. This was just not there was just nothing to write home about when it comes to Jonathan Kuminga. With that said, it's insane that people are ripping on him on a night when the Warriors won by 35 points. I digress. What else is in the chat right here? J-Rock saying Buddy Hield is a flamethrower. Pinoy reformat. I agree. Kuminga's going to put it together. And again, the whole team looked like they were just a little anxious, right? It looked like they had a bit of the jitters to start this game. It wasn't just Kuminga. Again, Stephen Curry started at 0 of 3 from beyond the arc, but then, Carla Davis writes he's not worth a max. It's worth noting that the rookie max does not represent the kind of max contract that, let's say, Stephen Curry's going to get. And again, we're 1 game in. When the Warriors play a team that's not like Portland, when they play, let's say, the Pelicans, who, side note, DeJounte Murray might have broken his hand. That is some shitty luck. Good for the Warriors, but I'm never going to wish for an injury on anyone. But when they're playing better teams that have actually like really good players that the Warriors are going to have to contend with, that's when Kuminga is going to really be a player that not only they're going to need more from, but you're going to notice more from. I don't know. I don't understand. Tim Ford, I'm with you. You want to know why they hate the kid? Because of the way Steve Kerr has treated him. Because if Steve Kerr doesn't play someone, you immediately have half of all Warriors fans thinking, oh, if Steve Kerr thinks he's not worth it, he's not worth it. There's no independent thought at all going on with a lot of the fan base. They just strictly rely on Steve Kerr's judgment to form their own judgment. So that is it. That's the extent of it. Because again, statistically, there is nothing there to indicate that he's not a good player. Nothing. And again, the eye test, sorry, I'm going to trust my own observation skills. I'm watching the same thing everyone else is. I don't miss often. My accuracy rate is certainly way higher than anyone else in this media game. So I'm going to trust my own observation skills and tell you Jonathan Kuminga is a great player. And he's going to earn that max. He's going to have a good season. Just wait and see. Anyway, so, and the crazy booba chicken, look, writing that I need to defend Jonathan Kuminga. I don't need to defend anybody. I don't even know him personally. My whole point with Kuminga, and I've said this before and I've said it again, he was 7th on the team last year in minutes. How do you defend that? He has still never gotten a legitimate chance to showcase who he is. Every other player who is a lottery pick, who is a highly touted young player coming into the game, they're given a run before opinions are formed. We have yet to see Kuminga get any kind of run, and yet people just form opinions about him. It's insane. And so I don't have any personal feelings about him. I just think that he actually is a tremendous talent. I think the Warriors are hurting themselves by not giving him a bigger run. And I also don't want to see another lottery pick besides James Wiseman thrown away. All right. I don't want to see that either. So it's not me liking him per se. Oh my God. And the JJ Tantillo, if you ever want to distract me, just say Baba Booey, Fafa Fufai. I'm a huge Howard Stern guy. I love him. Yeah. And so I think Jonathan Kuminga is going to get let loose. And then Carlos Villalobos, I hope I pronounced that rightly, saying Wiggins is back. He looks great. He can come off the bench and bolster the non-Curry minutes. Wiggins actually proved tonight that he's fine as the starting 2. So far so good. Let me put the link, by the way, in case anyone wants to join me tonight. I'm sorry for not doing that sooner. Let me put that link in the chat, just because if any of you out there are so strongly convinced that Kuminga is a bad player, jump on with me. Have a debate. Let's do it. And then Do2 writes, have you seen Wiseman with the Pacers? If I heard correctly, he had a great preseason. And then tonight, I believe, and again, we'll go over the scores and the standings at the end of the show. I think he hurt himself. I think he strained his calf or did something. If someone else can enlighten myself and the audience on that, drop a chat, please, or join me. Anything else? And Steve White, by the way, writing about Lindy Waters. Lindy Waters came to this game in the fourth quarter. We saw garbage time minutes from a lot of Golden State Warriors players because of just how massive of a demolition this game was tonight. Again, 35-point margin of victory, the biggest margin of victory in Golden State Warriors history. On that note, Rick Barry, the Hall of Famer, will join me tomorrow at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Hope you join us. I'm going to get his feedback on this game, the Warriors, and hopefully he'll be a regular on the show all season long. The Rick Barry Show, side note, is done. I know, and which kind of bummed me out because I've been hosting the Rick Barry Show with Rick for like 7 years. We started on the same network, Believe, and then we took the show over to Mic'd Up, and then Rick was like, I got better things to do. But fortunately, he will join this program very regularly. So Rick Barry will join us tomorrow. But the point is, Lindy Waters came into this game because of a blowout, played some garbage time minutes. And in those garbage time minutes, 5 minutes, 7 seconds to be precise, he was borderline perfect. He was a perfect 3 of 3 from the field, a perfect 2 of 2 from beyond the arc, grabbed the board, had 8 points, had a +8 net rating. That's Lindy Waters for you. I like the kid a lot. I'm not a big fan of him being out of the rotation. And look, here's one of the many positives about the Wiggins performance tonight. We keep getting those, and the Warriors can trade them and actually get something back, as opposed to the current situation. I mean, look, in reality, Steve Kerr probably wants to keep him. And look, if he plays like this, great. I mean, you're not going to hear criticism from me. I mean, all I ever want is players to play good. So, but if the plan is to make a move, and so far, every indication is that is the plan, Wiggins, if he keeps playing like this at the bare minimum, besides helping the team, he's also helped in terms of on-court performance. He's also helping the team in terms of trade value. Gary Payton II, I thought, played some great basketball tonight. 14 minutes, 29 seconds from him. Missed the only 3-point attempt that he took. It was a corner 3, which used to be a staple in terms of just a guarantee of those dropping in. And the corner 3 has not been as friendly to GP2, including the preseason, including last year, and now including the start to this season. But he made his 3 other field goal attempts, had 8 points in this game. He was second on the team in net rating with a +26, added 3 assists, added 2 steals, and a rebound, and 3 assists. So kudos to Gary Payton II. I thought he had a fantastic performance. Simon, too, a lot of people mentioning strength in numbers. The old adage that I don't even know where that phrase came from originally. Was it like a Warriors marketing thing that was that just organic? Like fans started saying that and it caught on, but wherever strength in numbers came from, it was in full display tonight. You're absolutely right, Simon. I like what Nepshuk writing in the chat as well, that Wiggins and Jonathan Kuminga need to be out there together for the Warriors to reach their peak. Thank you for saying that. That I wholeheartedly agree with you. And again, there are going to be moments this season, a lot of them, where the Warriors are playing much stiffer competition than the Portland Trailblazers. And this is not a big team. This is not a team that relies heavily on athleticism. You're going to need Kuminga. You're going to need Wiggins. And I love that they're starting. And I love, I know Kuminga had an off night statistically in that first quarter, but so far so good. I wholeheartedly agree with you. Sharice Washington in the chat writing an interesting a post that Kerr will not let Kuminga loose, therefore he's not going to get the contract. So the insinuation from Sharice is that Steve Kerr is intentionally holding Kuminga back so that Kuminga cannot get the max extension. It's interesting. Let's see if anything else in the chat before we resume. Oh, Traveling Urquidez is an official Golden Dazer writing, Kuminga has to play better than that for a max deal. Yeah, no question about that. But again, it's one game out of 82. we're going to see better performances from him. I thought the worst part about Kuminga tonight was just that his 3-point shot, which was falling in the preseason, did not replicate tonight. I mean, he only had 2 3-point attempts. The release was fast, but they looked a little forced. The defender was closing in on him. There was little space, and he was 0 for 2 from deep. Did have 3 trips to the free throw line. Again, that's one of Kuminga's many strengths is his ability to attack, which results in those free throws, which are very important for a myriad of reasons. Besides the fact that they're free points, it also helps the defense, because every time you're shooting free throws, the other team does not get a chance to push the ball. There's no transition offense. So the moment you get free throw attempts, you're stopping everything. You're allowing your defense to reset. That is helpful. And the Warriors don't have a lot of players on this roster that go to the free throw line that often. Kuminga led the team last year in free throw attempts. Wiggins is usually up there with them, and then Stephen Curry will get his, but that's it. And tonight was no exception of that, except for Trayce Jackson-Davis, who had 5 free throw attempts. Wiggins had none, which is kind of weird to me. I know he got fouled a couple times. Stephen Curry was a perfect 6 of 6 from the free throw line. Jonathan Kuminga, 4 of 6 from the free throw line, hitting 66.7% of his free throws. And again, he also grabbed 4 boards, which, isn't bad. It's not great, but most of those boards came early in the game. I thought he was fine, and his defense is needed clearly. So, Isan, what is up, buddy?
Well, it's good, Cyrus.
Reaction.
How's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good. I just finished the Clippers game. That was a really good game, but I was watching the Warriors game, and I liked what I saw after the first quarter. Yeah, the first quarter, I was kind of nervous. I was like, "There's no way that the Warriors are gonna find to lose this game," and then they just took off and started making every dang shot, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Everything. It was incredible, dude. Anything you didn't like in this game? You're right. The first quarter just looked to me like the team had nerves. Like they were just waiting. It seemed like they were just waiting forever to finally get the season going. The season got going, and they just were anxious, man. They had the jitters, and Kuminga looked particularly like that, like a player who felt like he needs to prove to everyone he deserves that max, and that's pressure you're putting on yourself doing that, which sucks. But anyways, man, you go ahead. How did you feel about tonight, man? The floor is yours.
I liked what I saw. Wiggins giving you 20. That's really good. I didn't like that Moody was playing in garbage time, to be honest. But maybe Kerr wanted to do that, right? I'm just thinking if he's gonna usually play in garbage time, or he's gonna be a consistent part of this rotation.
I was thinking the exact same thing for a moment until it occurred to me that the Warriors. I don't think the Warriors brought their two-way players with them on this trip. And that would be a moment, and I don't correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I don't see any of the two-way players' names, because I was waiting to see Quentin Post out there. I was waiting for Pat Spencer, Reese Beekman, and we didn't see any of them. And it made me wonder if they didn't travel with the team, at least for this first game. The Warriors are next going to play Utah Friday night, and because of that, the Warriors just had no one else to play. Like Gary Payton II was out there in garbage time. Lindy Waters. And Guy Santos, I think, rounded out the 5. Trayce Jackson-Davis was in there for garbage time. I just think it was just a lack of bodies. For a second I was with you. I was like, why the hell is Moody being disrespected like this, playing garbage time? And then I started seeing who else was out there. And then I was looking around at the bench. I'm like, are any of the two-way guys there? And Ranger 49 is saying Pat Spencer was there. I don't know. I honestly don't know what the reason was, but none of the two-way players got a run. So it also could have just been like trying to get them conditioned, right? It was the first game. But my point is Sean started to ramble here, but I just don't think that it was a sign of disrespect. I was thinking that too. And then when I saw the rest of the players out there, I realized it's just Kerr's just going all out, even in a blowout. So continue on. I'm sorry. It's
yet to be seen. You never know, man.
True. That's true.
I thought I did see Pat Spencer. I thought I saw Quentin Post out there too. Maybe I was mistaking it for something else.
Well, I mean, if people are saying Spencer was there, and Ranger 49 adding that he was not in uniform.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know why. I mean, you're allowed to dress your two-way players, so I don't understand that. And then Meadow adding that he saw Quentin Post there. Maybe it's a she. I apologize if that's the case. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know why the two-way players didn't dress. It would have been a perfect moment. Maybe the team just didn't expect this. I don't know. But I hear you, man. What about the rest of the game, dude? What were your feelings about I thought here's one thing that surprised me a little bit, and I'd love to get your thoughts. I thought D'Anthony Melton had one of the best training camps and preseasons, yet he was the 10th man off the bench. Maybe an 11th. Hold on, I had it in my notes. Yeah, he was the 10th man off the bench. Kyle Anderson was the 11th man off the bench. I thought these two were higher up in the pecking order. Did that surprise you at all, or
Yeah,
what were your thoughts on that and everything else?
I'm just looking at the box score right now. So I see that Melton played about 20 minutes. Are you surprised Looney played around 15 minutes?
He had to. You need a backup center, right? So,
yeah, I mean, it could also be like a feel out game. Like, they're just starting off. So he's just testing out rotation. So I'm hoping Moody gets more run, even though, let's see, he had 15 points, man, in 15 minutes.
yeah,
So
he was good. He was good.
So you gotta play him more, and then yeah, I mean you getting 20 points from Buddy Hield in 14 minutes. That's really good. You don't need Steph Curry to drop even 20. He had 17 points. You don't need Steph Curry to do anything if you're gonna get this kind of production. But it's I don't think it's to be expected. So I still think the Warriors are a couple of moves away if they want to win a championship, right?
I agree with you. But right now, so it's just one game. But
yeah, exactly.
So far, so damn good, with the exception of that first quarter, which was kind of meh. Traveling Urquidez, by the way, in the chat, asking a question that I don't have a clear answer for, which is rare. So Traveling Urquidez, props to you. The question is, do teams have to submit a playing lineup? I don't think so. It's not like baseball where you have to present your card to the ump, or I don't know if you have to do that in football either. But my understanding is that's a league thing, that you submit the lineups to the league. That includes like injury reports and whatnot. So I would say no, but I'm not 100% certain of the exact protocol for that.
They usually submit it before tip off, right?
Well before tip off, yeah. And they submit it to the league. I don't think you have to submit it to like the actual officials at the game. But I don't know why the two-way players weren't there. I don't know. Anyways, anything else, Sean, before we move on?
Yeah, I don't think you even needed the two-way players.
No. But again, if going back to your point though, that's the reason why we saw Moody, GP2, Lindy Waters, like Guy Santos, I feel like is like the one guy that makes sense for garbage time on this roster. Everyone else seems to belong, and maybe even Guy Santos belongs. I mean, he's an Olympian.
Are you high on Guy Santos? Because I'm not really high on him.
High is a strong word. I mean, we haven't seen enough for at least me to form, or I think anyone for that matter, to form a strong opinion. But I like the potential. I like the potential a lot, but he's nowhere near ready at this point in his career to make a legitimate impact.
I'd rather have Lindy Waters out there than Guy Santos, because when he was on the Thunder, I actually saw Lindy Waters make some, like, he's kind of a bucket, but like he never really got the chance on that team. So
yeah. Lindy Waters can play, man. Yeah, I agree with you. And like I said, I like Guy Santos. At a certain point, I think he's going to get his opportunity, but we shall see. Anything else, Sean, before we go?
Yeah, what do you think about Pods off to a slow start this season?
Well, again, what were your thoughts? Like Matt Brotherton at the very beginning of the show pointed out a crazy stat, which I don't remember ever seeing anything like this. He had 0 points, did not make a single field goal, did not have a single free throw attempt, did have 7 rebounds, did have 4 assists, but still 0 points, yet he was a plus 34. That is insane. That's wild, man. Like when I read a stat line like that, it just tells me Podziemski is the ultimate team player, right? Like and this is where, again, he is a natural point guard, and he thinks very much about how to make people around him better. Like that is his thought process. And there's nothing wrong with that. That 3 has to start falling though. Like that needs to be a part of his game, is to be a legitimate 3-point shooter, but plus 34 on 0 points. God damn, man. That is insane, dude. What are your thoughts on that before we go?
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know. He's got to get it going. Do you think he feels some sort of pressure right now, or he's just playing hurt?
Who, Brandon Pajemski?
Yeah, he could be.
I don't think he feels
playing
any
hurt.
pressure. I don't
You
think
know?
he feels any pressure at all. I think he's literally just having fun.
Yeah.
That's pause, man. Pajemski, from my impression, he's the type of individual who lives in the moment. I don't think he's worrying about much. I think all he cares about is his team and how to make the people around him better. And that's a beautiful thing in basketball, man. You want that as a player, as a point guard, especially. So, and he's a point guard who thinks that way, who plays that way, yet he rebounds like a power forward. He's physical. And again, he shot 43.8% his last year in college. So if he can bring that shooting and add that to the package, hell yeah, dude, sign me up.
But when Pajemski is starting, it kind of feels like another Chris Paul and Steph Curry minutes situation. Like,
when Pods and Steph are playing together?
Yeah, when they're playing together. You know what I'm trying to say?
I do. I know. I absolutely do. I'm with you. And we saw that lineup a lot in the second quarter. It was like the last 3, 4, 5 minutes leading into the half. We saw a lineup out there where Steph and Pajemski were sharing the backcourt. I'm with you. I would prefer Pajemski being like a traditional point guard where he's running the offense. He's looking to set people up. I don't hate him and Steph being out there together, but I don't know. I would prefer them being staggered, meaning like them playing separately, running their own units. But that's just me. I don't think it's a big.
Also, I wanted to highlight that the way the Warriors schedule is set up, they should go 5-2 at least in the next 7 games. Yeah, better. Like, I heard you like say that last show or something, and I was looking at their schedule. I was like, they got Utah next, they got Clippers next, and then they should win one of those Pelicans games at least.
They need to split. They got the Rockets and they got the Wizards. Yeah, so they better go 5-2. Let me ask you this, Isan, and then we'll move on. And I appreciate you always, brother. I love the support. Sure. Thank you. You watched the Clippers game tonight. I haven't even looked at the scores yet. I'm going to do that in just a moment for all the scores. But if I'm not mistaken, the game was close the entire time I was checking on it. And the Suns beat them in overtime. But how did the Clippers look, man? Like, how did they keep it so close? Was Phoenix bad? Are the Clippers that good and they just choked? Like, what was your reaction to that?
Phoenix was playing really bad. I was like really, I'm not going to say disappointed. I did not like what I saw out of Phoenix. So I think Phoenix just played bad, and the Clippers were relying on the Intuit crowd. You know, it's their first like game of the season in the Intuit Stadium. So I'm not sure. Like, I only watched like the ending. I didn't watch the whole game because I was watching the Warriors game, and I saw like, oh, there's no way that the Clippers are going to win this game. And, you know, they did win it. I mean, you know, it would have been a good story if they won it, but the Warriors should take care of this team easily, man.
Do you agree before you go, Isan? Do you agree with ATGYY that the referee saved the Suns?
Ref saved the Suns big time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was just
that's not a good look for the Suns then, but for them to barely beat the Clippers, I guess we shall see, man. The Warriors play the Clippers very soon. I'm curious. Chris Mullen in the chat, I'm guessing no relation to the Hall of Famer Chris Mullen, saying that the Clippers do have good wing depth. They do. They do. There's no doubting that. Did James Harden look good, or was he pudgy?
Yeah,
like, what was your reaction to Harden?
He played well. He dropped like 30 points or something, but he missed a free throw at the end that could have sent him to overtime. I mean, double overtime.
All right.
So I mean, yeah, he looked good out there, but you can't play Harden ball and expect to win. So I don't know. They need Kawhi back.
No, there's no doubt about that. Isan, thank you, brother. Thank you for coming on with me tonight. Come back soon, please. Always love the support. Want to know, brother? We can't claim with that, right?
88-0. Let's go, Warriors.
By Isan. And that's Isan, one of the many members of the audience. Again, the link is open. If anyone else wants to jump on and share their opinions or have questions or anything like that, please, you are more than welcome. Key 17 in the chat, asking where is Larry Krueger. I know you two were going. You were definitely pushing his buttons, brother. Although Larry was also, that was a strong bit from him. He was emulating some of the old school KNBR hosts who used to go on like crazy rants just for the entertainment value. Gary Radnich, Pete Franklin coming to mind. But no, you're pushing some buttons there, Key. There's no doubt about that. And he's on. Larry Krueger joins me every Tuesday at 3 p.m. So if his opinions are driving you insane, just don't watch on Tuesdays. Otherwise, he's here every Tuesday. I saw someone in the chat. Yeah, Esh, I agree. Krueger is great. He's one of my oldest friends. I was his producer. That was one of my very early jobs in the media game. Traveling Akides in the chat saying tough break for James Wiseman. Ooh, it might be an Achilles. That sucks. That is brutal. Victor K in the chat asking, is Bam Adebayo available? And asking me to start pushing that propaganda instead of Giannis. Look, I love Bam Adebayo. I've said this before and I'll say it again. He would be the perfect replacement for Draymond Green. It would be a seamless transition, only with much less drama and not as much offense. But the point is, I love Bam Adebayo. I think he's one of the elite bigs in the NBA. He's one of the reasons why the Miami Heat stay relevant year after year. He makes Eric Spoelstra look good. There's no chance in hell Miami's giving him up. That's the reason why I don't bring him up that often. Miami will not let him go anywhere. Believe me, I've looked into it because he is a dream target for me for the Warriors, but totally unavailable. He is a Miami product through and through. I want to real quickly, exactly, Rebellious, adding that the Heat will never let him go. And Rebellious, come on the show, man. You looks like you have a lot of strong opinions, dude. I would welcome you and anyone else to jump on the show if you want to express anything, or just have a fun discussion. Han Solo Dolo asking in the chat, if Andrew Wiggins plays like this the whole year, you keep him and trade Kuminga. My response to that is, why not keep him and keep Kuminga? Why the urgency to trade him? like there's nothing. Why not have both? You suddenly have you suddenly have a twosome that can match a team like the Celtics. I don't know why you would trade Wiseman. I know your answer is going to be because he has value, but dude, he's going to be a real legitimate player. Just watch. Val asking, am I going to do an episode high this season? If there's something to celebrate, I might light one up, but I like to be focused for the program. Like I'm one of those stoners who, the moment I light it up, I just turn into like an introvert. I just get quiet and I just like to watch movies or TV shows. I'm not a very, I wouldn't be a great host, stoned if you would get my gist. But if there's something to celebrate, yeah, I'll light one up. Why not? That's why when I go on Kruger's show, I used to light it up because I had no pressure at that point. Someone in the chat, Derek Simmons, is asking, how do I jump on? Just click on the link, man. I try to post it once a show. You just have to scroll up in the chat to find it, but I just posted it again. So if you want to join on, please do. Esh in the chat is asking, why is Moses Moody 12th on the depth chart? Damn good question. I don't know. That is a Steve Kerr thing. I was a little curious why DeAnthony Melton came into the game so late. Kyle Anderson, he was the 11th man. There were a few weird decisions made in that regard, but again, I'm not going to harp on Kerr unnecessarily, right? Like I don't want to be a dick, is what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to be positive and I want to see how this plays out, and I want to give Kerr the benefit of the doubt for now. And I'm guessing that they're trying to figure this out themselves. They have a very deep team, and with just like with any other organization where you have a group of people you're trying to manage, you have to deal with egos and feelings, and you're trying to be successful in the process. So I'm guessing they're feeling things out. Do I agree with Moody being the 12th man off the bench? No, I think he should be starting, honestly. But we'll see what happens. But yeah. Anything else? I'm going to read off real fast the scores for the night. Let me see what's in my notes real fast here in case I missed anything. And just to give you a perspective on that first quarter, which was awful for the Golden State Warriors. They were 2 of 12 from deep in the first quarter. So they only made 16% of their three-point attempts. In the second quarter, they were 8 of 15. That's 53.3% of your threes that they made. So they went from it being a tie game at the end of one to them leading by 12 at the half. And then in the second half, real fast, the Warriors shot. Let me find that real fast. The Warriors in the second half shot 10 of 21 from deep, 47.6% shooting collectively. Well, a couple stats that really stuck out to me was the ball movement was phenomenal. There were a few plays, like there was this one Kuminga give and go to Moses Moody when he hit a three. There was a pass that Wiggins made. I forgot who it was to. Let me see if I have that on my notes. That just really stood out. And there was another play in the third quarter where Trace Jackson Davis, who I haven't really talked about much as a passer, beautifully set up Draymond Green for the easiest layup imaginable. Kyle Anderson had a no-look pass in the fourth quarter that DeAnthony Melton wasn't even ready for. It went right through his hands. But the point is, the ball was moving. The assist totals for the night. Let me see if I can find that right there. The Warriors tonight had 38 assists total. That is fantastic. So they were setting each other up, man. I mean, this was just a beautiful game throughout. The Warriors led the Trailblazers in fast break points, 31-5. The Warriors outscored the Trailblazers in second chance points, 22-12. And this is a stat that a lot of people, myself included, have been worried about with the Warriors. And this is a stat where they got murdered last year, and that's points in the paint. And the Trailblazers, again, they're not a good team, but they are a bigger team. So points in the paint, if the Warriors had lost that battle tonight, it would not have been the most surprising thing imaginable. But they won. The Warriors outscored the Trailblazers in terms of points in the paint, 56-48. And Reese Beekman, Quentin Post, and Pat Spencer were listed as inactive before the game started. I just found that as well. Why were they listed as inactive? I have no idea. That's, I hope someone asked Steve Kerr in the post game. And let me see, actually, I haven't even had a chance to check out the sound. Let's see if anything's come down from post game from the Golden State Warriors. Let's hear from Steve Kerr talking about Andrew Wiggins' performance tonight. And we got Derek Simmons. Derek, sit tight. You're going to join me right after this Steve Kerr soundbite. This is from immediately after the game. Kerr talking to the press, talking about a solid opening night for Andrew Wiggins.
Do you think Andrew played?
Wiggins was great. And this is kind of what we're expecting this year, honestly. Peace of mind, great shape, in the prime of his career. I think Wiggs is poised to have a great season.
You talked before about, him and increasing his score and getting back to that 20 points per game. He's 20 tonight. Is especially on offense, selecting his shots, but also attacking downhill. Is that kind of the balance that you want him to strike?
Yeah. We want him, I think I said 6 or 7 threes a couple weeks ago. He shot 7 of them tonight. But he attacked the rim. He had some layups in transition. So that's what we love about Wiggs, is his ability to score in different spots on the floor.
All right, so that was Steve Kerr talking about Andrew Wiggins. Again, a fantastic performance from Wiggins, second on the team in scoring tonight. And the chat is open. Derek Simmons Jr., do I have your name right? How you doing, man?
Yes, sir. What's up, Cyrus? I've been watching you for a minute.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah, great to see you. I feel like I know you already, but you don't know me, so it's a weird relationship that we got going on.
Where in the world are you?
I am in Las Vegas.
Nice. Are you from there, or are you a transplant?
Huh?
Are you from the area, or are you a transplant? Meaning, did you move there from somewhere else?
Yeah, I moved here this year from Chicago.
Wow. Okay, that's a transition, man. I love Chicago. Vegas, it depends. Why'd you move there, and do you like it?
I moved here because of bodybuilding. I'm a professional bodybuilder, so
I could tell.
Yeah.
Bravo. Well, you look good, brother. You look good. I could tell that you're putting in the work. And what do you want to talk about, man? The floor is yours.
Okay, so it worked tonight, but here are the problems.
Okay.
At one point, we had Stephen Curry, Melton, Brandon Budzinski, all on the floor together. No, that is not going to work moving forward. Another thing is, why is Steve Kerr still punishing Moody? What does Moody have to do to get some damn respect, Cyrus?
I'm not muted, am I? Okay. I am with you. The only reason why I'm not more upset about it, the reason why I'm not more emotional about it is because he just got the contract extension. So at least they're paying him. But with that said, I agree. I don't get it. The four guard lineup you mentioned, you're right, man. That's not going to work against the elite teams. And there are going to be post-game shows where you're going to see me just pissed off, man, because they're not going to win and they're going to do the exact same thing they did tonight. I hope that doesn't happen. I wish I had good answers for you, man, but these are what drive me crazy. So I'm with you, dude. I'm totally with you, man. Yeah.
We lucked out because of the athleticism of Gary Payton, but we cannot expect that every single night.
That's fair. You're absolutely right. And I agree with ATGYY in the chat who says that Moody is better than GP2. Wholeheartedly agree. And Moody's salary almost matches Gary Payton's identically starting next year. So that's the plan, is Moody's going to replace GP2 starting next season. But it's borderline a cry, man. It is. I don't have like much empathy for professional athletes, like on a personal level, right? I mean, they're human beings like everyone else. So, you know, I respect that. And we're all individuals who have feelings and, you know, we have our own issues. But with that said, you know, I mean, they're pro athletes. I don't really, why should I care about, you know, what's going on in their personal lives? But with Moody and Kuminga, I do feel a little bit, dude. They're both really young. They're both really good people, right? Like they're not someone who lack decency. Like they're thoughtful, they're empathetic, and they bust their asses, dude. Like you seem to be someone who understands the results of hard work, right? Like,
and confidence and your mental state. And so
there you go.
Steve Kerr is not instilling confidence within these young players. Look at Kuminga's face when he took him out in the first quarter.
I know. I saw
he
it.
had his head down like, here we go again. And basketball is mental. The reason why Steph Curry is so good at what he does, yes, he's got natural born talent. Yes, he's a hard worker, but he is free. And he has all the confidence in the world. I mean, that's why we see him take the crazy shots that he does, because he's so confident. Why? Because people instill that confidence in him. Mark Jackson gave him the green light. He said, shoot it. I don't care where. Just shoot it. Steve Kerr's not instilling that same confidence within Moody, within Kuminga. And you're destroying their mentality, taking them out early. Kuminga don't need to be out early like that.
I've said the exact same things, Derek. You're absolutely right. I don't know if you've ever been in a position of leadership. I don't know if what I've done counts, right? I'm a former business owner besides doing the media thing. And so I had employees. I've been a professor, which is teaching for 12 years now. And, you know, there are certain ways to lead especially younger individuals, like what Steve Kerr is doing. And one of the things is tactically instilling confidence, like you're saying. He's not doing that with these two. And my bigger issue with Kerr, and the reason why I levy the amount of criticism I do, is because Kerr has not proven to me yet that he can manage a team that doesn't have Stephen Curry and Draymond Green carrying everything, right?
Bingo.
So
and
he hasn't developed
that's
anyone. Like
Steve Kerr's
Jordan Poole was
game
the closest thing to it, and then he regressed, and he got punched by Draymond Green, Steve Kerr's guy, right? I don't think Kerr handled that situation well. No one ever talks about that. And Poole's gone, and Poole is who he is now. And so I'm totally with you, man. You're preaching to the choir in this regard is what I'm trying to say, man. I'm with you. Anything else, brother? Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I got a lot to vent about, because we've seen this the last 2 years. I believe the year after we won the title, we could have beat the Lakers. But those rotations, and him kept playing Jordan Poole and putting him out there when it was not necessary. It was clear. If you go back on tape and you watch that film, we was in it against the Lakers, but every time we put Jordan Poole back in, it was like LeBron James was like, yes, all right, now we got him. It was clear and evident he is so caught up in the small ball mentality. And I hate it, because we are actually better than what ESPN, the big media, gives us credit for. But Steve Kerr keeps messing up the rotations. And It's because of that. I know that if we just got the rotations better, Moody needs to start at the 2. Moody needs to be the one to start at the 2.
Yeah, that's my preference too. I agree. And let me ask you this: like there's people like, and this is where like Han Solo Dolo. I wish folks like you would actually come on the chat or come on the show, and so you could articulate your thoughts in a verbal manner, in an interpersonal manner, instead of just dropping keyboard warrior bombs and then moving on. Han Solo Dolo writes that Kuminga was playing selfish. Strongly agree to disagree there. I didn't see anything selfish. If anything, the only plays I saw Kuminga do was pass. Like the Moody 3 was a give and go that Kuminga set him up for. I didn't see anything selfish from Kuminga. Did you, Derek? I mean,
look at all the mistakes Steph Curry made. Steph Curry was trying to be all fancy, missing, passing up wide open layups and trying to do those fancy trick passes. But he's allowed to play free. So why is it that every time, if Kuminga makes a mistake, we take him out. How is he going to get better?
Exactly. I'm 100% with you. Like,
we can't keep playing this Steph Curry save us in the last minute. That's not going to work.
And where was the bad defense? I didn't see any bad defense from Kuminga tonight. I don't understand any of the criticism. Again, the criticism is always like subjective, like eye test type stuff. You're never going to find statistical issues with Kuminga, except for the 3-point shot, which again is not bad. It's just not great either. And the Moses Moody thing, like someone in the chat, for example, wrote, Dre Hahn wrote, how many minutes do you want Moody to play? And is the question. And he played 15 tonight. And Derek, I'll let you answer this as well, but I'll quickly say he averaged 17 and change last year. So how many minutes do I want? More than that. I want maybe 20,
25 to 30.
25. Like Kuminga should be getting 30. And Kuminga tonight, for example, got his minute total tonight was 19 minutes, 31 seconds. And he finished the game with 2 points and 4 rebounds. I am confident in saying this. If Jonathan Kuminga was not pulled out of the game 5-6 minutes in, and he was actually left out there to do his thing and given confidence, right? Instead of taking him out early, which steals his confidence. If he had been left out there and given 30 minutes tonight, he's given you a 20-point, 10-rebound night.
Right, exactly.
But because he plays 19 and a half minutes and he's pulled so early, like you said, man, you're messing with his psyche. You know, you're not giving him confidence. And you're getting a 10.4 rebound night instead. And
also, he's playing Melton way too long. He got back problems. You got to utilize the younger players more. I mean, we're risking injury. This is a very good team, but the way that Steve Kerr's designing it can go bad real quick. Melton played way too long tonight. Even in garbage time, I was like, why is he still out there?
Yeah, Melton, I didn't read his stats tonight. Melton tonight, he played 19 minutes, 4 of 11 from the field, 2 of 8 from deep. So he only hit 25% of his 3-point shots, 10 points, 4 assists. It wasn't a bad night, but it wasn't like anything to write home about. Like you said, the back thing is a concern, man. I agree with you there. And Pinoy reformatted in the chat saying Moody if he got 20-plus minutes a night, he might average 18 points a game. Wholeheartedly agree with you. And Victor K in the chat writing, Kuminga wasn't playing selfish, but his game is drive to the basket to get his own shot. I don't agree with that. Half the time he's driving to the basket, he's passing. And if he's driving himself, it's because he's one of the greatest rim attackers in the game. Every time he actually attacks, with the first quarter of tonight excluded because everyone was playing bad, himself included, he's either going to the free throw line or he's scoring. There's nothing wrong with him attacking, but I see him plenty of time passing the ball as well. I don't agree with that assessment either. It's just a lot of people, like when they want to criticize Kuminga, it's their opinion. It's like, well, I saw him do this, so I don't like him. There's nothing statistically that confirms these comments except for the 3-point shot, which again is not bad. It's just not great. It's average. And I think that'll improve too.
I'll tell you this, Cyrus. If Steve Kerr plays Moody, Kuminga, Trace Jackson-Davis between 25 to 30 minutes per game, we will win the title this year. And let me tell you why. We have the greatest player since Michael Jordan on our team. The gravity that he carries is like no other player. I don't care what other people say. I don't care about this LeBron James crap. I don't care about this Jason Tatum crap. Nothing's like Steph Curry, especially the way that we saw it in the Olympics. Nobody gives us a show like Steph Curry. Nobody plays lights out like Steph Curry. All you need is a competent coach to surround Steph Curry with athletic, young talent. That's Moody, Kuminga, Trace Jackson-Davis. That's it. We will win the title. Steph Curry will get ring number 5. We can end the discussion between LeBron James and Steph Curry. This is Steph Curry's era. There's not no LeBron James era. And then that's it. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, and no, what you said is right on point, man. I wholeheartedly agree with you on all of that. Do you want to stick around for Dre Haan or do you want to bounce? Your call.
No, let's do it. Let's do it. I'm fired up.
All right, Dre Haan, who I saw. Dre, I'm bringing you on, and I'll put you to like that.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
What's up, Dre? I saw you in the chat real fast. Ask a question like, if Moody's getting 30 minutes, who's he taking those minutes from? And the answer is not.
That was my question, because if you about to give him 30 minutes, that means either Kuminga minutes dropping or Wiggins minutes dropping.
No. Or GP2's minutes drop. That's where the minutes should come from. And I don't think it's that complicated, man. It's literally GP2. I love him, but this team can survive without him, and this team will be better with Moody than GP2. I know that's my opinion, but I do believe in that. What are your thoughts on that, Dre?
No, you're right, Cyrus. We got to play bigger. This is not – Portland is sorry. We can wipe them. We can wipe the floor with them.
Dre, what are your thoughts on that, though?
It all depends on the matchup, and what I mean by that is you're gonna need Gary Payton for the Ja Morant, the De'Aaron Foxes. I don't think Wiggins and Kuminga gonna be able to check them all game. You know, can't nobody check De'Aaron Fox, but collectively we're gonna need GP2 healthy and Melton healthy to guard them.
Yeah, well, and that's the beauty of having Melton, right? It's another player you could use, but again, GP2, I just don't see the same GP2 that we saw 2 years ago, man. I know last year he wasn't healthy, but he did play. No, he didn't play in that Kings game, did he? We're making this a party, man. Han Solo Dolo's in the show as well. Han Solo, I'm glad you're in the house. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm slow.
Good, man. It's a Warriors win, and despite that, like someone said, we're here bitching and complaining and debating. I love it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I love the win. I love the depth, but my problem is the Wiggins and Kuminga duo. It doesn't work out. It doesn't look good to me.
How so? Because they won by 35 tonight. So how does it not look good?
They play too much alike. And I think
why is that a bad thing? Like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown play alike. They seem they want a title. Like what's wrong with that?
The spacing to me is the spacing, and then Kuminga's team defense is just still not there, and he wants the max. He doesn't deserve the max to me from what I see. It's just the eye.
Yeah, I think I think that too. Kuminga do sometimes he get a little too aggressive and players fly past him. Yeah, I do see that.
Here's the thing, and there are 100 possessions a game for each team, right? I'm not going to deny that 2 or 3 possessions a game, Kuminga oversells defensively, or he bites on a fake. But there's also 2 or 3 possessions a game where he's getting a fantastic steal, a shutdown, and on average, generally speaking, I don't see him making these kind of mistakes that people are exaggerating. I don't see it, man. And when you look at the defensive matchup numbers, which is one of the only stats you can rely on defensively, him and Wiggins are elite. Like players do not score on either of those guys, man. That's why I like having them both out there, because now the perimeter defense is legitimate. That was an issue last year. It's not an issue when you have both those guys out there. I get the spacing thing, but don't forget attacking also creates space. Collapsing the defense will open this. So let's say you have a lineup hypothetically.
So who is your starting 5 then? Who is your starting 5, and who is your bench coming off the bench?
Well, real fast.
Who is your starting 5?
Real fast. I'll answer that, but real fast. Think of a lineup that has Steph, Buddy Hield, Kuminga, Wiggins, Draymond. Just think about that for a moment, right?
I couldn't do that.
If Kuminga or Wiggins attack the paint, it's collapsing it. Kuminga is not attacking the paint without a second defender coming to help. He's that good already. The moment that happens, and you have Buddy Hield and or Stephen Curry wide open, that's the other spacing you could also have when you have attackers and not just shooters. And the starting lineup, the only change I'd make, look, if Wiggins can do this tonight, his issue the last 2-3 years has been consistency, right? We've seen 20-point games occasionally from him, but he'll follow that up with like a 7-point egg. So if he can do it consistently, give me the starting lineup every night. But I personally would have swapped Wiggins for Moses Moody. I think Moody's ready for that and can handle it. But I also have been advocating for Wiggins to be a starting too. So what about you, man?
I believe Wiggins was like that because of Klay Thompson.
So you think without Klay he'll be better?
Yes, because they wanted to get Klay Thompson back to his old self, shooting and making threes again, making him happy, which took away shots from Wiggins. And Wiggins is a natural scorer. When you give him the ball on and get him in rhythm, he starts to score. So
I hear you. Let me ask
you. Wiggins don't care like that. We care more about winning than Wiggins do. Actually, if you put me on the floor, you would see more effort out of me than you would Wiggins.
Yeah, you have to put a battery into Wiggins' back. That's the bad thing about Wiggins. You have to put a battery in his back, and you have to tell him, "Hey, lock this guy up tonight." Or
I gotta disagree. I gotta disagree with that.
Go ahead.
Because we don't know what that man went through. He looked at like that championship year. He looked at damn good. So I don't know what he went through. That's not us to debate on that or whatever. But if he's gonna look like today, if he's gonna look like that today for the rest of the season,
dollars to play basketball.
Look, finish your thought first, and then Derek jump in. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, I'm just saying, if he don't look like this, I mean, I know this is the first game, so I'm not jumping the gun. If he's going to look like this,
play him. No disagreement, man. If this is the Wiggins we're going to get every night, no one's disagreeing, man. Play him. It's only one game though, and we got to see if this is what we're going to get. But keep in mind, the Wiggins of 2022 was unbelievable, dude. The guy was averaging like 9 rebounds a game in the postseason. We've never seen that from him before or since. But it's not just the last 2 years. It's also the first 7, man. Wiggins, through his 10-year career, has not been that good. He's put up empty stats, and he's oftentimes not shown up. And you've heard the stories from Minnesota. No Warriors fan, except for me. I was actually ecstatic about that trade, and I was pushing for it. Most people were not excited when D'Angelo Russell was traded for Andrew Wiggins, man. There were a lot of Warriors fans that were pissed about that. So Wiggins, all I'm saying is, like, don't pretend that Wiggins, the 2022 version, is the norm. That was an anomaly. If we can get that back, dude, great times are here again.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with that. Cyrus, what happens if it rains just a little bit too much for Wiggins? What happens if his coffee's not made just right? What if it's just a little bit too much cream than it is sugar? Is he going to show up?
Now you being mean, man. Now you get a little mean, man.
Is he going to show up? I mean, it's so many ifs. It's so many buts. I can't put Steph Curry's legacy in the hands of Wiggins. I don't have that kind of trust with him.
So what was his stats today? What was his stats today?
Who?
Wiggins. What was his stats?
Fantastic. He was second on the team in scoring with 20 points. He was 4 of 7 from deep after a slow start. He was great, man.
What was his rebound?
4. He had 4 boards.
4 rebounds. That's solid for a shooting guard, small forward. That's solid. That's solid number.
And again, I'm going to give Kerr credit when it's due as well, man. I'm not going to just rip him and criticize him. I've been asking for Wiggins to be a 2-guard for a long-ass time. He finally did it, and look what happened, dude. It's just one game, but that is his fit. That's where he needs to play. But you can also bring Moody off the bench and give him 20 minutes. Like, you can still win and develop these guys. It's not like one or the other, man.
So how many minutes is you giving Milton? How many minutes you giving him then?
Well, again, GP2 would be the guy I'd cut back on first and foremost.
But
And
Melton,
then from there,
Use them two matchup wise. Melton and GP2. It's got to be.
That's what I'm saying.
matchup-wise.
So
exactly.
so what are you saying? I don't follow. What are you saying?
I said they should play Moody more and then use GP2 and Melton matchup wise, depending on who they're playing, like a John Morant,
Exactly.
De'Aaron Fox, those fast guards. That's when they should use DeAnthony Melton and GP2, because DeAnthony Melton is a GP2 insurance.
but damn, man, it's only 48 minutes in the game. Somebody ain't playing.
Exactly. Hey, look, I want to wrap up the show, man, and I welcome you, all of you, to come back anytime. Let's do this again, man. Look, regardless of how we all feel about the managing of the minutes, the Warriors won by 35 points tonight. They look good. This is not like I'm already feeling way better than last year or 2 years ago. Like night and effing day, man. And a lot of it is because this team has some players on the squad now. A lot of it could be Clay and those negative. Dude, he really had a lot of negative energy, dude. Like so having him just go to Dallas, I think that's a good thing too. So this is a good night, man.
Hey,
this is a good night.
Cyrus, really, for real? I'm impressed with our perimeter defense.
Me too.
Yes, this team
very impressed with our perimeter defense.
I agree, because last year, man, that was a weakness. And I guess if I'm going to tip my cap to anyone, it's Mike Dunleavy Jr. So far, so good, dude. He has not been letting me down so far. Every time I'm start getting upset, he actually does something. I read something that makes me happy. So he's put a good team together, and let's just hope Kerr doesn't mess it up, dude. But I think Derek and I are 100% on the same page. And I don't know about you two, that this is for the agenda is Stephen Curry getting a 5th title. That is my motivation for every argument I make, even when it comes down to Kuminga. I think Kuminga can help Steph. Like, I think Moody can help Steph. Like, that is my thought. And Derek, it sounds like you're on the same page. I want Steph to get a 5th title because I want to be an old man someday. And if I ever have kids or grandkids, I want to tell them, Steph, who's still on Mount Rushmore, that was my guy, man. I covered that guy. I watched him.
Cyrus, real fast, quick question.
Yeah.
Right? If Wiggins continue to play like this, would you keep him or trade him?
Keep him.
No.
Because his stock gonna go up. His stock gonna go up if he continue to play like this.
Keep him.
Go ahead, Derek.
I'll trade him if we can get a better bid. Even if he plays like this.
Here's the thing. I also, and this is where I value Steve Kerr in terms of his priorities. Like Steve Kerr, and I call him Picky Steve for this reason, he's very peculiar when it comes to who's on the team because he values chemistry. And if Wiggins is helping with chemistry, unless the trade is for like some elite type bit, unless it's like for Giannis or, I don't know if I want to mess with that, man. I mean, this is just one game, man. These are the questions that we got to answer like 30, 50 games in. It's too soon, but it's one game. So far so good.
Hey, we back, baby. We back though.
We definitely back.
I can see this team taking out the Celtics. I can see this team taking out the Celtics.
Well, so
I have another quick question for you, Cyrus.
Yeah, and also, and I'm gonna have one question for all three of you, and then we'll wrap it up with this part and finish up the show. And then I'll answer your question as well. But here's my question: all three of you will go in order of, I don't know which one is Han Solo. I don't know who's what, but we'll go with who's next to me here. What happens Friday against Utah, man? Is it going to be another blowout? Are the Utah Jazz a different beast? Are the Warriors 2-0, or is it going to be tight?
It's going to be another blowout.
I'll see another blowout.
How do Utah do tonight?
Our bench just look too good. So our bench look good. So.
Dude, the depth of this team is real, man. Utah lost to Memphis by 2, 126-124 tonight. John Morant I saw the highlights. He's back. So just to give that, and Lowry Markkinen, Mike Lowry Markkinen, 35 points, 9 rebounds for the player that a lot of us wanted on the Warriors. So, okay, so you say blowout. I forgot your name. Who else? Oh, Dre. What? Who do you think what's gonna happen Friday in Utah?
I got it a blowout.
All right.
I think it's gonna be a blowout.
Derek, your thoughts?
It'll be a dub for sure. I'm not too sure if it will be a blowout or not. I have a feeling that it's going to be a Steph Curry game. I feel like it's going to be a night. So 40, 35 points, somewhere around there.
That altitude has been messing with this Warriors team the last few years when they go to Utah. This is where the depth is going to be very helpful. I also have Craig Rahman in the chat saying trade Kuminga. He can't shoot. He can't drive. He can't defend. He can't get a hard on. He's just big and athletic for no reason.
Ignorant. It's ignorant. You're being ignorant.
I don't know if you're trolling or what's going on, but that was funny. Any final questions or anything?
Hey, Cyrus, I got a question for you though. I know Wiggins have a brother that play overseas.
Yeah, he came back. Right.
Now, was he doing the same? Now, I'm just allegedly, he was doing the same thing Wiggins was doing about not going to games or not showing up.
I don't know. All I've ever heard, again, I had one source who told me what was going on with Wiggins. And again, if anyone's that curious, DM me. I'll DM you back and tell you what it is. But again, because it was just one source, chose not to roll with it. The journalistic standard is you want to have two sources, right, before you report something as a fact. And I couldn't get a second one, man. Wiggins, his circle is tight. So I have no idea what his brother's issues are, if anything. All I know is what you folks know, except for what my one source told me. And if you want to know what they told me, I'll DM you. But I don't know what's going on with his brother. Is there a follow-up question or?
No, that was all. I heard during the same time Wiggins was going through whatever he was going through, his brother was kind of doing the same thing.
Because of their dad. I think the brother was very clear. He came home because their dad was sick. But Wiggins has never, outside of that one Shams report from 2 years ago, we've never heard anything about what's going on with Wiggins. He's a very insular dude, man. He's very private. I
don't believe we have the right to know that.
No, I don't even want to know. I was seeing reports that his brother was doing the same exact. He'll play for a game and then he's off for 6 games overseas though, because he plays overseas.
His older brother, correct? Yeah, I don't know what's going on. But it's not going to be like a. What's Giannis's brother? Thanos.
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 He said Thanos.
All right, guys. I love the energy. Come back soon, please. All right.
Will do.
Yeah, will do.
All right, Dre, Han, thank you. Derek, any final thoughts before I let you go?
Yeah. Night.
Peace out, bro. Oh, that was awesome. Victor K. I did not wait. Derek, let me get you back here real fast. Are you still there? You're still there.
Yeah.
Did you see this? Victor K in the chat is writing that Monty Poole had an article on Wiggins today. Very clear what his issue was. Well, if it was written in an article, Victor, follow up and tell us. Did you read that, Derek, or do you have any idea
So I heard that it was his dad passing away.
Okay.
And if that's the case, if his dad's passing away, okay, I can understand. That's a very sensitive issue, and I'm not going to talk bad about anybody's parents dying.
Clearly, yeah.
Right.
And again, it could be a bunch of things. It could have been like his dad's issue could have led to him, having other issues. I mean, it's just whatever it is. It's whatever. It's in the past, and it's. I do agree with what's up.
He should have been developing Moody better, and I believe Moody and Kuminga could have been a whole lot better right now. I mean, they're still good, but they could have. I believe these guys can be all-stars. I mean, I really do.
And this I agree with. If there's Pinoy reformat, you've been on fire in the chat tonight writing, if there's anything to trust, it's a Wiggins contract year. Unfortunately, he has, I think, 2 more guaranteed years after this season. So it's not a contract year anytime soon. Derek, you were fantastic, dude. Come back, all right, please?
I will.
All right, man. Keep up the great work. I'm a straight man, but you look ripped. You look good, dude. So keep it up. Bravo.
Thank you, brother.
I'm sure you're having success in the departments that matter in life, man. Derek, thank you, brother, so much for coming on. A quick strike. Love you right back. Thank you so much. Val, almost there to lighting it up. I want to finish up the show tonight. First of all, let's get a couple more sound bites in. I love squeezing those in if the opportunity presents itself. And let's hear from Andrew Wiggins, who does not talk to the media that often, but he spoke to the press after the game tonight. Again, 20 points. He's 4 of 7 from deep, and this was after a slow start. So Wiggins was talking about the depth of the Warriors rotation. There's actually 2 clips here. Let me see which one I'm gonna find. Let's go with this one here. This is courtesy of 95.7 The Game, the official flagship radio station of the Golden State Warriors. I believe Whitley Sandretto travels to cover the Warriors. She'll be on this show at some point soon. I also mentioned Mark Spears coming on the program. That's been rescheduled for November, which is just a little over a week away. So Mark Spears of ESPN will join us soon. Whitley Sandretto of 95.7 The Game will join us soon. And for now, Andrew Wiggins is joining us. Let's hear what Wiggins has to say about the 12-man rotation.
Man, I feel like this is a very deep team, so it might work for real. You know, I feel like we have a lot of good players that can come out and, you know, our point of emphasis is to run. You know, play fast. And you play fast, guys are gonna get tired. And I feel like when the bench comes in, you know, they're not gonna miss a beat.
Do you feel like that?
God, he's so mild-mannered. Like, you can barely hear what he has to say. He's a quiet dude. If you heard that, more power to you. That was Wiggins talking. I couldn't hear that. That was Wiggins talking about the depth of this team. Let me see if there's any other sound bites. Ooh. This is the way to close the show. We got 2 more sound bites. The first one is Stephen Curry talking about Buddy Hield, which I find fascinating largely because Buddy replaced Stephen Curry's splash brother, Clay. And let's hear what Steph has to say about having a new splash cousin, splash stepbrother. Here's Steph.
The guy just loves to play basketball. He loves to hoop. He loves to be in the gym. He's got a great personality. Oh my God, I'm complimenting you right now. He is of this world. He loves this game. Again, he's happy that, you know, he's able to play a system that he's comfortable in, moving the ball, cutting, shooting when you're open. And I know he's played against us for years and kind of can feel it. He was talking about on the bench how demoralizing it is at times where you get on a run and you get a stop, transition, everybody's fine off the court. Defense makes a mistake, you get a 3, go down and do it again. Like how being on the other side of that is it's demoralizing for a defense and for a team, and now he gets to add to that. So, you know, it's a cool experience for him. He's been playing great.
Hell yeah. In case you couldn't understand what Seth just said right there, he was basically giving Buddy Hield's perspective on what it's like to play for the Warriors in the sense of no longer being on the other side of watching a barrage of offense and fast breaks and just what the Warriors do to you. And that Buddy Hield is ecstatic to being on the right side of the assault. And so there was Stephen Curry. Someone in the chat mentioned he's got his swag HQ. Look at the swag. He's back. Absolutely. Steph must be. I'm guessing Stephen Curry is ecstatic over the fact that he only had to score 17 points in a game that they won by 35. Incredible. And the player of the night, Buddy Hield. Let's hear from him. He led the team in scoring, 22 points. His shooting stat line one more time. Buddy Hield, 5 of 7 from deep, 8 of 12 from the field, 22 points in 14 minutes and change. So why don't we hear from Buddy Hield, the star of the night, the leading scorer for the Golden State Warriors, the new addition, the splash cousin, the splash stepbrother. What are we calling him? I have no idea. I'll let someone else answer that one. But regardless, here is Buddy Hield talking about his first game as a member of the Golden State Warriors.
How much sacrifice does playing 12-man rotation require?
First of all, you get to start off liking each other. I think everybody has the right personalities. Everybody comes in and there's no egos. And plus, me coming here, there's a standard that these guys go by, and it's championship. They've done the work. So no matter what you say is wrong, because whatever they say is right, and you just go by that, and you learn and you listen and you try to observe everything, and you just try to figure out how to apply myself into their like uniqueness and how I can be effective.
And how much sacrifice?
Oh, there we go. So that was Buddy Hield. And in the chat, Pinoy Reformat, who's been on fire, wrote, a beautiful comment, which I think a lot of people will agree with, which is that Buddy Hield gives us a similar impact to what Jordan Poole gave us just 2 years ago. Jordan Poole was the third leading scorer on that team. His impact was huge. And you're absolutely right. Chris Paul was nowhere near filling that void last year. So Buddy Hield is a welcome addition to this team. Bravo. It's one game, but one beautiful game. All right. Oh, and real fast, let's go around the league, and then we'll finish up. I'm going to make this a tradition of every post-game show. We'll go around the NBA. I'll read off the scoreboard real fast, and then we'll call it a night. Tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific time, Rick Barry is going to join the program to give his reaction. A lot of people are comparing this Warriors team to Rick's team from 50 years ago that's similar to this squad, had a very deep rotation, had in that team, Rick Barry was the star, and the planets orbiting were all the other individuals on the team, just like Steph with this team around him now. So Rick's going to join us tomorrow to talk about that. But going around the NBA real fast, the Indiana Pacers won their first game of the season. They defeated the lowly Detroit Pistons 115-109. Pascal Siakam, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists for the 1-0 Pistons, or for the 1-0 Pacers. The 0-1 Pistons were led by Cade Cunningham with 28 points and 8 assists. And for you Jonathan Kuminga haters out there, take a look at Cade Cunningham as a prime example. Cade Cunningham gets 35 minutes a night, and he puts up these kinds of numbers. If Jonathan Kuminga was playing 35 minutes a night, he would put up those kinds of numbers. There would be no debate about his max extension. And that's Kuminga's mentality. That's his perspective. That's why he wants the max, because he knows he's better than most of his peers from that draft, but because he doesn't get the same minutes, he doesn't get the same stats, and he feels like he's getting screwed. And I agree. Elsewhere, the Brooklyn Nets lost to the Atlanta Hawks 120-116. Trae Young, 30 points, 12 assists. Cam Thomas, who's expected to be a stat powder for the tanking Brooklyn Nets, 36 points in this game to go with 3 steals. The Orlando Magic won their season opener tonight, 116-97, defeating the Miami Heat. Paolo Banchero, who could be a superstar in this league. Don't be surprised if he's grabbing all the headlines for being a star in this game. He had 33 points, 11 rebounds. Terry Rozier led the Miami Heat, and that's not a good sign for the Heat when Terry Rozier is your leading scorer. He had 19 points and 6 rebounds. A game that was nationally televised. The Milwaukee Bucks are now 1-0, defeating the Philadelphia 76ers, who did not have Joel Embiid or Paul George playing for him. The final score, 124-109. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 25 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists for one of the greatest players to ever do it. Tyrese Maxey, 25.6 rebounds for Philly. The Cleveland Cavaliers are now 1-0. They defeated the Toronto Raptors 136-106. Evan Mobley leading the way with 25 points for the Cavs. Another player who was in Jonathan Kuminga's draft class. And then Chris Boucher leading the Toronto Raptors with 18 points. They're now 0-1. The Cavaliers 1-0. The Charlotte Hornets pulled off an upset, although maybe, I don't know this, but regardless, the Charlotte Hornets defeated the Houston Rockets in Houston 110-105. LaMelo Ball, 34 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists. Alperen Sengun had 25 points, 18 rebounds, 4 steals for the Rockets. Keep in mind, the Rockets played better in terms of wins and losses last year when Sengun was out, which was interesting. The New Orleans Pelicans defeated the Chicago Bulls today, 123-111, in a game that for them, unfortunately, saw their prized point guard they traded for, DeJounte Murray, leave with a broken hand. I believe this happened near the end of the game. Devastating injury for them. Brandon Ingram led the Pelicans with 33 points, 7 rebounds in the win. Nikola Vucevic, 21 points, 11 rebounds in the loss for the Chicago Bulls. The Memphis Grizzlies and John Morant's first game back since, I believe, January, held on to defeat the Golden State Warriors' next opponent, the Utah Jazz. The final score there, 126-124. The Grizzlies improved to 1-0. The Jazz 0-1. John Morant had 22 points, 10 assists, including quite a few highlight reels. Strongly recommend checking that out if you haven't seen it. Lauri Markkanen with 35 points and 9 rebounds for the losing Jazz. One more on a full docket of NBA games tonight. The Phoenix Suns defeating the LA Clippers in overtime, 116-113. Bradley Beal leading the way for the Suns with 24 points. James Harden had 29 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 assists. That is your scoreboard going around the NBA. It's usually not going to be that busy, but because it was the unofficial opening night, I know technically yesterday was, but for the rest of the NBA, not named the Celtics, the Knicks, the Lakers, or the Timberwolves, it was opening night for everyone else. Otherwise, is there anything else? Let me see if there's anything else in the chat. Yeah, Leo Giancarlo, who I'm guessing missed the game early, writing, y'all saying Kuminga is trash after one game, like he didn't light it up in the preseason with Moody, which he did. Like I said, there's a group out there that just hate him. And it looks like that's going to be the case, at least until we know he's certainly a permanent fixture with the Golden State Warriors. Armando Lara adding that Podziemski can't stay in front of players. There was one play I did notice where Scoot Henderson got by him. But anyways, whatever. Yeah, is that it? Are we good? Are we done? I think that's it. 35 points. That's a record, folks. Biggest blowout victory by the Golden State Warriors in franchise history on opening night. Gilbert Arballo, real fast, writing, are you hammering the Niners money line in Big D? If you don't mind asking me that again later, let me know, okay? Or ask me again, please. I have not put much thought into that. Abraham De Leon correcting me. I'm just going off what ESPN wrote because I mentioned in the Suns game that Bradley Beal scored 24. That's who they highlighted. But Abraham De Leon in the chat correcting me, saying that Kevin Durant led the Suns with 25. Again, I'm just going off what the ESPN scoreboard had, and they listed Bradley Beal as the leading scorer. Otherwise, yeah, and Armando, you're absolutely right. Wiggins played great. I'll even say Kuminga did not play great tonight, but he wasn't bad either. The hyperbole of him calling him trash is absurd. Otherwise, back at this tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific. Rick Barry, the Hall of Famer. He was on that 74-75 Golden State Warriors team exactly 50 years ago, similar to this team. They had one key star leading the way. That team had Rick. This team has Steph. And that team kind of defied the norm and convention in terms of going with, like, I think in that case, they were a 10-man bench. They had a very deep rotation, and they stuck with it, and it led to a championship. So Rick will be on the show tomorrow to talk about his team and what he thought from tonight's game. I'll ask him if he thought Kuminga was trash. No, Armando. Podziemski's not the new Anthony Lamb. Podziemski's a Warrior, man. Let's give him a little more love than that. Mobility Maestra asking, would I really give Kuminga $30 million right now? No, I actually I like what the Warriors did, which is let's see how this year plays out. But with that said, I'm not calling him trash either. Like I'm not ripping on him like a lot of people are. I just don't think it's deserved from one freaking game. Raymond F adding, again, we talked about this earlier. Brandon Podziemski, 0 points, yet had a plus 34 in net rating. It's wild. It is absolutely wild. So thanks to everyone for joining us. Armando, one last comment saying you were a plus 34 watching that game. I was a plus 35. And otherwise, we're back at this tomorrow. Great start to the season. The Warriors win. I love the fact that we're having arguments despite a 35-point victory. Good stuff. Keeps things entertaining. Thank you, everyone, for a beautiful opening night. We'll be back at this soon. Bye-bye, and go Warriors, baby.